All right, we're live.
All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
This week on the Media Virus Podcast, Florida principals sacked when sixth graders see the sack and everything else on Michelangelo's David in art history class. A day after tackling a wheel winner, Pat Sajak is seen hollering at a wheel spinner. Mississippi TV meteorologist says faux shizzle and gets sent to the employment lizzle. All this wisdom coach Marc Wendt, real talk with the boys, and Stanley brings us more just the tips on this, the 125th episode of the Media Virus Podcast. It's the Media Virus Podcast. Let's point and laugh at the world burning around us with executive producer Mike Latoris. We're going to start over. BBC correspondent Stanley McFadden.
Makes me tingly in an unfamiliar way.
Grease Monkey Pete.
Damn, Big Daddy.
Here's the thing about the Media Virus Podcast. It's really well done.
And now, spreading the sage nihilism of an aged Gen Xer, your host and mine, the star of our show, the incomparable Matty Rockdeath.
God damn, do we have a show for you people this week? I am Matty Rockdeath. This is proof positive that anyone can have a podcast. Welcome to the Media Virus Podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. And I want to thank all the new subscribers for checking us out, sharing, and thank all you for thank everybody for everything. You can always check us out on themediavirus.com. You can always give us a call at 646-VIRUS-01. That is 646-VIRUS-01. And you might make it up on the show. Who knows? We're going to find out all about this week's guest, Marc Wendt in the B Block. How you doing, Marc?
I'm doing really good. I had a great day. Did my cold plunge this morning. I'm ready, set, go.
A cold plunge. That's you just take a cold bath every morning?
Yeah, I have an unheated pool, and it's winter. So
where are you at?
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, so it still gets cold there, right?
Yeah, it's cold, but California cold, we shouldn't talk about it. It's not fair to cold. Cold is real cold. Like Minnesota cold or New York cold or Montana cold. California cold doesn't qualify.
Is that something you do every morning though, the cold plunge?
Yep.
What made you decide to start doing that?
I don't want to die.
I mean, I don't want to die either. Does that help?
Well, I guess I'm being a little flip, but the reason is that I heard that it would really help me manage my nervous system and help the cells in my bloodstream expand and contract and self-regulate. And my blood pressure's going up. I'm getting older, and I like how it feels. Like it doesn't feel good at first, but I like feeling like the badass that could stay in the water for 4 minutes. That's pivotal. That's
what temperature was it?
Thing.
What temperature was
it? I have no idea.
Just jump in. Now, do you go in? The reason I'm so fascinated by this is I listen to the Adam Carolla show almost every morning on my way to work, and he talks about doing a cold plunge and how the health benefits of it. And I've often, like, I don't have a pool, and I don't want to take a cold shower, so I'm trying to figure out.
You can buy a cold tub, Matt.
You could.
They sell them. They're these like barrel looking deals, and has like a screw on top so you can throw in the ice, let it chill down, and then you hop in.
That sounds.
One of the amazing things I heard on Joe Rogan about it this week, he had a guest on who's some sort of scientist, and unfortunately I'm too old, I can't remember his name, but they talked about how this particular thing also helps the way your body regulates insulin.
That's real. Okay. All right. Yeah, because people that I am currently still recuperating from a perineal cyst, and I get cysts often because I'm diabetic. And
I heard.
last year I was I did the show from the hospital, but I was hospitalized, almost lost my toe. I've been trying to control my sugar. I've quit smoking. I'm well over a year not smoking. I had a drink a couple of weeks ago at a friend's wedding, but I pretty much I'm not going to any meetings or anything, and I might dive back into a bottle tomorrow. But right now I ain't drinking, and I haven't had coffee in about 6 months. So I am looking to, I'm slowly making, manifesting these small changes, and I've been feeling healthier. And I've replaced my coffee with like a mushroom supplement that I'm sure you've heard of. It's not mud water, but it's, I went looking for a generic because mud water was really fucking expensive. So that's it. I'm going to have to really, really, really dig into that.
Start with the cold showers. It's really simple and you don't have to make an investment. And
true.
then the key thing is don't throw in the towel. Get in there and hang in there.
He's got props. That's awesome.
He had a towel next to him. He's got Pete. You've impressed Pete with your prop, Mark. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that my day is made now. And I'm being sincere. I'm not being a dick. Can I say dick on this show? I don't know.
Absolutely. You can say whatever you want. Whatever the fuck you want.
Cool.
I don't give a shit.
I'm so glad to hear that because that's how I roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really I watched your guys' show before coming on it.
Oh,
and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bring it because I like these guys.
Cool. I appreciate that. I don't know if you saw the shock in my reaction when you said, I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh my God. Well, I appreciate that. We work hard at doing this. Now I have to ask, dude, it's kind of been, and it's kind of leading me into, because your name harkens me to simpler times. Because you share a name with a very famous person who I adored as a child, George Wendt from Cheers.
Yeah.
Is there any relation at all?
Probably not. There no family reunions. I get asked the question a lot because that's the most poignant cultural reference. But no, other than, a lot of Wendts came and they settled part of Montana and some other parts of the, right on the eastern side of the Rockies. So on some level we must be related, but just not really.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So what he's saying there, Matty, is hey, Matty Wendt.
That's right. That's right.
But Cheers, it just made me think of simpler times. And when life was good, when there weren't all these goddamn laws standing in your way, you could crack a beer open when you're taking your kids to school. You didn't have to wear your seatbelt, smoke with the windows closed. Life was good. You know what I mean? And now everybody's getting upset over every little thing, and you can't even show little kids genitalia anymore.
Yeah, in Florida, a principal was fired, but the principal has now been invited to Italy because the art class showed the statue of David, who is, as we all know, a famous nude male. Every year, 6th grade students at Tallahassee Classical School have been taught and shown a picture of Michelangelo's David statue.
So this is course curriculum.
Yes.
It happens every year.
In the 6th grade, yes.
In the 6th grade. And yet this year, there was a problem with showing historical art to children.
This month, things went awry, sparking an apology letter to parents, an emergency school board meeting, and a principal's resignation.
I want the asshole who wrote the apology letter fired. That's who needs to be fired. That's who needs to be fired, because the asshole that wrote the apology note started the fucking fire. Because none of the kids went home and go, "Hey, Mommy, I saw it." And who would give a shit? You send your kid, you said it before the show, you're sending your kid to an art curriculum. You're sending your kid to a charter school to learn about art. What the fuck do you think they are going? I hope in 1,000 years that art teachers are showing the Media Virus podcast and letters are sent home.
We should only be so lucky.
On Monday, even the museum that houses the sculpture in Italy took notice. Cecily Holberg, director of Galleria dell'Accademia, told the Associated Press that she was astonished that the controversy and welcomed the principal, the school board, the parents, and student body to come view the purity of the statue in person.
Just to be clear, I heard the story mentioned in somewhere else, and they're not offering to pay for their trip to Italy.
No. They just
invite them over.
Stop
just
by.
Hey, and not for nothing, it's a public place. You don't really have to be invited.
Right.
Just say, hey, if you're in the neighborhood.
Or just like, we're here.
Dario Nardella, mayor of Florence, Italy, also wrote on Twitter that he personally invites the Florida educator who was let go to the city to be recognized, adding, whoever teaches such art deserves respect. The squabble.
I like the Italians more and more as this goes on.
Yeah, right.
You know who I've been becoming a fan of? Not to stray way off topic, who I've really been becoming a fan of, and I've never thought I'd say this. Viva la France! France is on fucking fire, and it's beautiful because they went to retire. They went to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64, and they're like, no, fuck you. And they stopped picking up. The cops are on strike. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. Anyway, go ahead. What are we talking about? Italy? Yeah, okay.
Macron needs his sack roasted.
The squabble had been brewing for weeks in the K through 12 charter school in Leon County, Florida, after students in the 6th grade art history class were taught about the Renaissance.
And we saw a wiener.
Alongside the Michelangelo sculpture, the lesson included images of paintings, creation of Adam and birth of Venus, also with nudity.
Jeez.
At the heart of the anger was that, unlike in years past, parents were not informed of the artwork ahead of time. Hope Carrasquilla, who had been principal at Tallahassee Classical for about 9 months, said an email notifying parents had been written, but the administration accidentally forgot to send it. I made the assumption that the letter went out, and I didn't follow up on it, she told NPR. It is my responsibility to make sure that these things happen, but honestly, we did not have to send out a letter regarding Renaissance art. According to Carrasquilla, 2 parents were upset that they did not receive a letter, and 1 parent complained more specifically about the nudity, equating it to pornographic material.
No, I've seen a lot of pornographic material. A lot. A significant. What I'm saying is that's not pornographic.
We've done a lot of research on this.
On my research. And what did I think? Oh shit! Was it Supreme Court Justice? One of the Supreme Court justices said when dealing with pornography, he says, "I can't define pornography, but I love it when I see it."
I know it when I see it.
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
We have the great Larry Flint to thank for that court statement.
That's right. That's right. He was now see, he taught us more than any Michelangelo, could have. Wasn't isn't they're saying that the reason that the penis on the Michelangelo is so small was because back then, having a large penis was a sign of a lack of intelligence.
Yes, that I have heard that before,
and I've heard that is proven fact. That the smaller your penis is, the smarter you are.
It's certainly a sign of a better car.
Certainly a sign of a way bigger truck than everybody else. So.
Yeah, if you want to get fired, show some kids a naked statue.
Or wrestle contestants on the Wheel of Fortune.
Well, yeah. No, but Pat's really been going a little crazy for, I guess, in the past week or so. Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak yells at a contestant a day after he went viral for tackling a winner. Wheel of Fortune has quickly become the wheel of media headlines, with Pat Sajak making news once again for his behavior during the game show. Just a day after he went viral on stage tackling a contestant, Sajak was caught yelling at a contestant to solve a puzzle.
So you know what? We should get. Oh, damn! Too bad. Sam Kinison. That'd have been great. Sam Kinison hosting the fucking Wheel of Fortune. Solve it! Oh! Solve it!
See you see Sam Kinnison's bit where he calls up the chick that cheated on some dude in the audience and just lays into him like on stage.
No.
Like her. Oh, it's a great bit. Look up Sam Kinison.
Well, we will. We don't have rights to that though, so we can't play it.
No, we can't.
So where were we, Mike?
Let's see. So, I'm going to solve, the contestant Nicole from Peachtree, Georgia said during Wednesday's episode when the puzzle had just 2 unknown letters left. Please solve the darn puzzle, Sajak exclaimed loudly. Nicole had already successfully guessed several letters in a row, and Sajak said, "Looks pretty good to me," as if to say, okay, go ahead.
Come on, numbnuts. Can you figure this the fuck out?
No need to spin again.
There was 2 open spaces, and it's the same fucking letter in both spaces. Just pick it. Come on, solve it.
With 4 letters missing in the puzzle in the category same name. I'm about tired of these commercials popping up. In this category same name, Nicole chose to spin again, selecting P. She narrowed the puzzle to 2 missing letters after guessing Y. She ultimately solved the puzzle correctly, shouting coconut and cough syrup before letting out a sigh of relief.
Coconut and cough syrup. What the fuck do they have to do with each other?
I don't know.
It's a new cocktail for when you go to Mexico.
Like Slither. I'm drinking that lean. Cough syrup. Jesus.
The camera cut to Sajak, who shared, "It's a horrible moment when you know that everyone in America knows what this is. Why don't I? But you got it." He then said, "We appreciate that you pretended you didn't know till the end. You increased the drama, and that was great."
So he's basically just kept calling her an idiot.
Yeah. And then she went on to not win. Someone else, the contestant Corey, ultimately was the winner of that episode.
That's fantastic.
This tense moment came just a day after a controversial moment when Sajak was caught, albeit playfully, tackling the winner of that night's episode. Winner Fred had revealed himself to be a drama teacher as well as a bar trivia host and professional wrestler. And when he ran away with the episode and solved the puzzle, Pat grabbed him, put him in a half Nelson.
How much
do you show that picture, Mike?
How much money do you think Pat Sajak has?
It's obscene.
Do you think Pat Sajak has fuck you money at this point?
Yes.
Do you think he just doesn't give a shit?
I'm sure.
I mean, he's a good-looking dude. I haven't watched Wheel of Fortune in a minute, but he looks. I mean, he was what, in his 50s?
Yeah, he's older than
a kid.
Yeah, he's older than you think. He's one of those guys that ages fairly well.
I mean, so he could coast through life, through the rest of his life without doing anything. So he's completely given up.
He's definitely on FU money at this point.
Yeah, not a fuck given for that guy. Mad respect.
I feel like you
forgot. Vanna White still looks real fuckable too.
Sorry?
So Vanna White still looks real fuckable too.
Yeah, she's doing very well.
Yeah.
Yep. Pat Sajak is 76.
Wow. Huh.
That's it. He forgot to take his Geritol that morning or something. His one a day, and that just screwed him all up.
He was in the army. And he's a Republican. Why do I have to know that Pat Sajak is a Republican?
Oh,
I mean, why is that important?
I honestly don't think it is.
Take on Vanna White. Let's take a
Yeah.
What's that?
No. Click on Maggie Sajak. I want to see who he's married to.
Oh shit! All right, we're gonna go down this hole.
Like he's got to go see Vanna Wade every day for work. Like, let's see what Maggie looks like.
That's got to be his daughter.
That's his. Yeah, this is his. This is the daughter, Maggie.
Oh, it's not the wife. That's too
No,
bad.
Maggie's the daughter, and she's cute.
She's real cute.
That's.
I'd like to turn over some letters.
Buy a
on her.
vowel over your tits.
He's currently married to Leslie Brown.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh,
He's
Wow.
doing okay, right?
all right.
Leslie looks like she's fun to hang out with.
Hell yeah.
I'm pretty sure they live right down the road from us here in Maryland.
What? Fucking with me in Maryland? Where do they take Wheel of Fortune?
Out in Hollywood.
So he just flies to fucking Hollywood to tape.
They tape them all, and they do
Oh,
like
they gang
5 a
tape
day.
them. Yeah, no, I get that, but still, Jesus Christ, she's hot.
You know,
Go ahead.
I know the guys on Ridiculousness get like $250K an episode. What do you think Sajak's getting? He's probably got to get it for like
That's
500.
what, well, what's Pat Sajak's annual salary there, Mike? Let's.
You can find.
Oh, it was right there. Or salary per episode. That's good enough.
15 million a
What?
season.
15 million a fucking episode to harass
No, the
contestants.
A season.
Oh,
So-
a season. Oh, that's still
Still not bad.
I think that.
He-
And they just extended their contracts through 2024. So good news. We still got Wheel, baby.
Yeah.
Many things have changed in my life, but we still have Wheel of Fortune.
Right. God bless Merv Griffin.
That's right.
He really had an impact in our society. Merv Griffin really set the stage for
Yes.
television entertainment.
And-
I mean, more than likely, just if the Merv Griffin show, like
Mhm.
that whole talk show. He was the first one to do. Well, the Tonight Show was like a variety show.
Yeah, he did
The
his. in
Merv
the
Griffin
afternoon.
show was more of like a. But I think he was one of my he probably inspired one of my inspirations, because one of my inspirations, and I'm kind of pissed that I don't smoke anymore, was Morton Downey Jr. He used to fucking smoke and scream at the camera and shit, and then just get people, like he would get these two groups of people on that would just like neo-Nazis and gays, and then they would just fight.
And he would
was
sit
the whole
back and
show.
smoke and watch it.
He would just sit back, smoke. It was genius television.
My favorite Merv Griffin show, I think, was the Dating Game. Didn't he have something to do with that? I think he did.
I think he did.
Probably.
I'm guessing. I don't know, but I liked it because that's where I learned all my moves.
My favorite Merv Griffin story is they talked to him recently, or, well, not recently, but in modern times, and he said, it was really strange. All of a sudden, I thought I thought I had a misprinted check from ASCAP and BMI. So I called my agent and said, "Hey, there's been a mistake. I got all this money on this check." And so they said, "Oh, we'll look into it." It turned out it was right when cell phones started having ringtones that you could choose, and the Jeopardy theme had been chosen so many times that he was getting paid so much on it that he actually saw a huge increase in his royalty check. So he thought that, oh no, they're doing something wrong. I'm going to owe all this money back. And they're like, "No, that's all you, man. It's all you." And
Uh-oh.
Matt, you've turned your mic off.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot what I was saying too. So it doesn't matter. Not that important.
Well,
Turned it down to check
It
the
is-
stream. Go ahead.
it is important because when you say things and people are listening, sometimes it's a problem. Like this Mississippi TV meteorologist and news anchor got removed after she quoted Snoop Dogg live on the air. There has been no sign of a Mississippi morning news anchor woman since she voiced a Snoop Dogg phrase on air earlier this month. Barbie Bassett has not been seen on air for the NBC affiliate WLBT since March 8th, when her team were discussing the rapper's addition to his wine line. Bassett said, "Faux shizzle, my nizzle." When the idea of a Snoop collaboration with a newsroom journalist was raised.
Don't we have the video?
I don't know, but we have a parenthetic notation here that I just think is fantastic. Nizzle is slang for the N-word.
Now, this is all right. So, she's joking around. And is it slang for the N-word or is it Snoop Dogg's catchphrase?
Well,
You
we
know,
all know what he
there's
means.
a lot
It's
of things.
both. It's both. It's both.
I mean, but is it, and where does it, like, can I say nipple? You know what I mean? Like, where does it stop?
Please say it again.
Nipple? Like, where does it stop?
Little
Nizzle.
shizzle on my nipple.
I mean, just because
nizzle.
it's so. And what else? Even what? She's trying to seem hip. She's in the banter. You know what I mean? She didn't think anything. And was she fired because that was? Was she fired because that was? Because people thought what she said was racist, or was she fired because she was too deep into black culture and the management couldn't handle it, so they fired her? They were racist.
I'm going to say neither because the story goes on. The station's chief meteorologist, as well as anchor Bassett, has previously caused controversy with a comment referring to a black reporter's grandmammy on the air. She later apologized. She is no longer listed on the station's website, according to...
What was the comment she made about her grandmammy?
It was grandmammy.
That comment.
The mammy part being a problem.
What? Why? Someone explain that to me.
Well, in the movie Gone with the Wind, mammy is a slave. So grandmammy would be offensive potentially to a black grandmother.
Oh, I still.
But change one letter and it's perfectly okay.
It's
Grandma.
mommy. Change another letter and it's mama, which is fine. Mama, right?
Sure.
That is
See,
true.
so she said two things that to anybody else, nobody gives a shit. But because somebody doesn't like her for some other reason, they had to fire her for that. That's what it was.
Did they fire her?
Not for nothing, but she was old and overweight too, so that might have something to do with it. They might have been just want to get some cute little blonde.
You make a good point. She is outside of what TV executive boardrooms want to put on air most of the time.
Right. They were just they've been her boss has been staring at her broadcasts for 5 years, figuring out how to get rid of her. That's what's been happening. It was like, how do we get rid of this girl? And not for nothing, that picture, I'd fuck her. Tell you that right now. Fuck her all day long.
I'm wondering.
We got a weather girl around here, Channel 29. I don't know if she's still on, but Sue Serio. I give it to her.
You're a Sue Serio fan, are you?
What's that?
So you're a Sue Serio fan, huh?
Oh man, I've been a Sue Serio fan for a long time.
Do you like big Sue Serio or thin Sue Serio?
I like big. I like them big. You know that way. You know what I mean?
Because she has run the gamut.
She has, but she has had swinging ass hips.
Oh,
I remember when I used to live in Collingswood. I'm talking 90, 98, 99, something like that, maybe 2000. She had an ass that would follow her around and bounce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when she'd do the weather, and it was just like, oh, it was the most beautiful fucking thing. But anyway, not everyone is an appreciator of, large cargo.
News porn.
What's that?
Newscaster porn.
Well, the grand MILF porn. Not everybody's into that.
Porn. Nice.
But yeah, I don't see what's wrong with either of the things she said because she doesn't fucking know any better. You understand what I'm saying? When you're old, when you're that old, you just don't fucking know any better.
She may be that far out of touch that she just doesn't get it.
Right. She just didn't even know what she heard that come out of so many people's mouths so many times that she just thought it was
Funny.
Right.
Funny and okay.
She was trying to be off the cuff and funny.
She just thought she'd try it out. Like
If you do get a chance to watch the video, though, it's fucking hilarious because there's a black dude sitting right next to her, and when she says it, his head just goes straight down. They're all sitting there like talking. Then she goes, "Fascism, my nizzle," and he just goes. It is pretty terrific. But
there's a whole list of words that white people aren't supposed to say.
White, and there's another list of words that straight people aren't allowed to say. The straight white men aren't allowed to say. And there's it goes on. The list goes on. There's so many, but
it's insensitive.
Yeah, but the beauty of a news story is you get to say them.
Oh yeah,
you have to say them to report it properly. Not get to, have to.
Well, we got to say it because we were reporting on it, or you did, Miss Mike Clitoris.
Yeah,
that's right.
Or professor, should I say professor?
Professor Mike Clitoris.
Reverend and professor, if you want to get really technical.
Anybody with a name like that, I revere him for sure.
Absolutely. But coming after this, we're going to take a deep dive and talk to Marc Wendt in the B block. You can always give us a call at 1-646-VIRUS-01. That's 1-646-VIRUS-01. You can give us a call, and not just when we're on the air. You can leave a message, and we might play your stupid message on the air. Whatever dumb shit you have to say to us, we'll play it. That's the deal. You can check out everything Media Virus at themediavirus.com. You can also shoot me an email, Maddie@themediavirus.com. You can shoot PML an email at themediavirus.com. Just Pete at themediavirus.com. And did I miss anything, Mike?
I don't think so. You mentioned that we're going to talk to Mark in the next episode, in the next block.
That's right.
Give the phone number, the website. I think we got it. I'll just tell everybody we'll be back with the B block right after this.
Thought we were taking a break.
All right. That is the A block.
All right. We're still live streaming, but we're just going to take a minute. This is what we do. We take a minute, cut the recording, save that, and then right into the next recording for the audio only presentations that we do. So we'll get started here as soon as Mike gives us the signal.
Yeah, reset.
Pretty much.
Makes my editing a lot easier. Less chance of ending up with 3 blocks uploaded of the same thing.
Yeah.
I've only done 2 back-to-back before, though.
Well, there was the one time you uploaded a C block from the week previous.
I've done that too. Yeah.
I feel like you were really stressed out that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my friend Greg to call in, thinking maybe he would do it. So I don't know if he's gonna. We'll see.
I'll make sure that we have the phones up. I usually don't bring those online to the B block anyway. All right, phones up. I just need a recording window. Check. And we're rolling. And process. All right, I'll introduce us, and then I've got a intro to play and
Do it, baby.
in the podcast production. And we're back on the Media Virus podcast. We're in the B block, and we're going to have our interview. We're going to talk to Marc Wendt, the wisdom coach. In the podcast production system, there are two separate but equally important groups: the guests who think they have something to say, and the hosts who completely exploit them. These are their stories.
All right, we're back in the B block of the Media Virus podcast. We're talking with Marc Wendt, wisdom coach. Marc, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, and people can find you at marcwendtcoaching.com. Well, tell us all about that, if you don't mind.
So I coach men to create better relationships and better results in their work. And that basically works through this idea of communication skills, but then connecting to what it is they want and being more brave, courageous, and capable of producing the kind of results that they want. So with regards to women in their life, I teach them the language of emotional intelligence. And I help them get a better handle on how to speak to women from that place that all the women crave without losing their masculinity, without losing that core essence of potency, strength, power, productivity, all those things that we love about men, but adding that new component that's like part of the modern society of a man who's emotionally intelligent. Now that translates also really well strangely into the business world, because when you're able to communicate more effectively, you can create the kind of buy-in that drives results with your employees. So it's one thing to say, I'm going to whack you if you screw up and you're out of here, you're fired. You got people cowering and trying to do good. But when you get people to be invested in your why by creating an emotional resonance with them, now they're in on the game. Now they're going to follow you off the cliff to kill the bad guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So when you talk about emotional intelligence, I'm trying to phrase the question correctly. Like, how does that, what is emotion when knowing how you feel and knowing, whether or not, like, being able to step out of your emotions and analyze a situation, logically, that's how I kind of, knowing that you're angry, that's not necessarily somebody else's fault. How do you, is there a definition besides just,
Well, I'll give you mine. I don't know if there's a universal. There probably is. And so I'm probably going to screw this up. But I know that what works for me and what works for my clients isn't necessarily stepping outside and then having an intellectual approach. It's actually learning to deal with the way the body responds to triggers, the way the body responds to anger, sadness, fear, sexual energy, being able to actually use that energy in an intelligent way. Because emotions literally are energy in the body. And so one of the things I teach my clients, or that we work on, is to be able to feel what we feel, the sensations we feel, and then search for clues around what the emotional content is that goes with that. And so once you get able to identify that really good in real time, like a good comedian or whatever, now you have command over a whole other layer of communication, and you can utilize that in whatever arena you're in. The thing about the professional arena is I teach something called professional intimacy, which is like you develop this emotional connection, but there's limits around it, of course, because you don't want all the depth and all the passion and all the sexual energy in the professional arena. But in your relationship, you want to have all that. So when you learn it, you can use it in both arenas, but you have to calibrate it a little better in the professional arena. What it meant, if you pissed me off, for instance, Maddie, the thing I would say to you instead of yelling back at you is I'd say, right now I'm feeling kind of pissed. And then I would tell you why. And I would have my emotions not shoved down or constricted and controlled. I'd actually be feeling them. I'd know what they are really quickly. And I'd be able to say to you, right now I'm feeling really pissed. And this is why, without bottling anything up, without exploding, right? Because that's super ineffective.
That's a good question then, because it seems to be one I have a real hard time with. How do you not explode? Like, how does that,
how does that work?
How does that work?
That was a thing.
Yeah. So how it works is you practice, right? You practice certain techniques, and you train your nervous system to actually be in a state of flexibility, of the ability of resilience and flexibility, instead of right at this constant edge where if anything happens, then the top of the volcano is going to go off. So on one level, it's learning not to build up that level of pressure and have it be sitting there ready to go off, right? But the thing is, we don't teach men this stuff. We don't teach it. It's an alien experience for most people, and it takes a while to learn how to feel. And what that, like mechanically, that starts with actually breathing in to your belly and being consciously aware of what it feels like to be in our bodies. And we are chasing alcohol, we are chasing sex, we're chasing weed, TV, all so that we don't have to feel the sensations, because those sensations can be very high. The opposite end of the spectrum is, Red Bull athletics. It's like, that's where we're going for sensations. We want all that adrenaline, or with porn, we want all that sensation. But the uncomfortable ones, like jealousy, like feeling shame and inadequacy in the face of who you're working with or what you're dealing with, those things we don't know how to handle because we don't train men to do that. And so I
feel like I've handled it. I feel like my shame and my inadequacy, I've become accustomed to it.
You ride it, really. I mean,
what's that? I strive. I really do thrive in it.
See, you're probably way more emotionally intelligent than you give yourself credit for.
I do. I am actually. I don't want to be anymore. I'm tired of it. I want to go back to the way I was, where I was just, no, I'm joking. But I've done a lot of work on myself, and part of it is identifying, I snapped. I had a little bit of a temper tantrum the other day, and I scared my wife, and I was like, oh, it was one of those things. And it's one of those things where I was coming up with laundry, and I fucking stepped on a dog toy, like a hard, round dog toy, and twisted my ankle. And I lost my shit at the dog toy. I picked it up. I was like, I don't want this fucking thing. The dog doesn't even fucking play with it. I threw it in the trash. And then I turned around and I really scared the shit out of my wife. And the shame and everything. And it's one of those things where that kind of reared its ugly head after, such a long time of trying to be docile, but I'm also trying to be like, not aggressive. Aggressive's not enthusiastic about life.
Yeah.
Right? And that's new for me, being enthusiastic about life. You know what I mean? Approaching life with trying to get that energy, and with that energy, with doing things, you get more energy, and with more energy, with more energy, you can do more things. And with doing more things, you get more energy. And with getting more energy, you do more things. And it goes like that. And then, I get to that point where now the enthusiasm turns to aggression, and I haven't realized why. Like I haven't identified what. Am I making any sense? Or am I just like,
yeah, I'm getting it. And if you were my client, we would take some time to answer that question, why that aggression is so present for you. But I'll just give you, without making it about you so much, I'll just give you a baseline. There is this developmental stage that happens with people, and in particular, we're going to talk about men, where by the time you're 7, a lot of the way your nervous system has been wired by the experiences you have. So if there's any trauma in there, then you're carrying that with you at a subconscious level. And the tools to resolve that, the way that stuff comes up, aren't taught. So you don't get effective at expressing the way those things happen for you. And the emotional currents are usually about abandonment or about loss, fear. And so what's happening is that little 7-year-old is still inside you. And whatever happened to him comes up over stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be that explosive. And so we would start to work with, well, what happened? What are you aware of? And then we'd start to have tools for how you would communicate things in real time, all day long, every day, with whomever you're with, so that those off gases don't build up. And we do a really bad job of helping men have the space to be emotionally present, because we have all these labels about weakness about it. But the truth is, if you study the Stoics, you find out that they're actually very emotionally present, and that the stoicism that we equate, which is really just extreme concentration and the ability not to be fucked with, comes from having emptied out all of that stress. Because if you're on the battlefield and someone can push your button and make you angry, you're going to lose, right? That's part of why when guys go to box, they try to do that thing at weigh-in when they fuck with people's heads, right? So it's really, how do you learn to manage your nervous system? Well, it's physiological. That's the first thing. It's not your brain. And a lot of us try to think our way out of emotional issues. But what's really going on is that there's a whole hormone system, and there's all these different places. Like, what do you say when you're angry? Well, it's tightness in your jaw, right? Right? Yeah. So you learn to identify, oh, I'm pissed, my jaw's tight, right? And well, what do I need about that? Can I take care of that myself by just like going for a run? Or is there something that someone did that I need to have a conversation with about them, or with them about? And what do I say to them? How do I negotiate well to have that resolution take place? And that's where the communication skills come in. And then the next layer, once you've practiced that and you can feel your own body and you can feel the emotions rise up and you can identify them in real time, then you can start to have empathy, especially with your woman. And when she can feel you feeling her, she feels safe. And that safety factor, the higher her sense of safety, the more turned on she is, the more lovey-dovey she is, the more she's going to cook you that awesome ribs that you like. Because her nervous system can relax and calm down, because her nervous system is wired to feel everything. Like, have you ever tried to sneak something by your wife and they just know it, right?
My current wife, I could probably hide a hooker right behind me and walk past her. But okay. my ex-wife noticed every little fucking thing I ever brought into the house. And so I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm kind of, and especially because there's this thing that happens to women, especially after they've given birth, where they're, that the old person that you married dies and this new person is there, and their nervous system is wired completely differently than the person that you knocked up. And, now every little things that I wouldn't even think about, she's pointing out to me, and so on and so forth. So I definitely, I just wanted to make the joke that I could sneak a hooker past my wife. If she wasn't wearing her contacts, I could probably pull it off.
The problem is, would they end up together and you'd be standing there watching them? That would be the problem.
That's why I brought her home, dude. You know what I mean? You can find me under Cuckold. No. Where were we? Oh yeah. So
we're having fun.
Yeah.
Wisdom coach. Marc Wendt.
Also, Mark, there's one of your questions here in the, your little bio here says, did you really appear as a Jedi extra in Star Wars Attack of the Clones?
Yes, that is true. That is a
I
fact.
did a deep dive and found you on Wikipedia.
Yes, sir, you did.
You're also a songwriter. You're a scorist. How do you say that? What is that? Is that a score or music score writer?
No, that's
Okay.
not right. But I am a screenplay writer.
Oh, well, maybe I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, not at all. The first time today. And it says that you were an archivist for Lucasfilms. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How do you land a job being an archivist for Lucasfilms?
So I just want to presence that I have to be really careful because I'm under an NDA about talking about much there.
Oh, well, then fuck it. Never mind.
No, what I can tell you is that I worked for this guy over here, Bill Graham Presents, as an archivist intern for 2 years. And the skills I learned there was what made it possible for me to serve Lucasfilm for 21 years.
That's awesome.
But I also learned a lot about production, a lot about, one of the things I had to do there was reproduce the 60s light shows. Because the project I worked on was reopening the Fillmore Auditorium. And so when we reopened it, one of the things they said to me was like, okay, they said it to the crew actually, because I was part of a team. We want you to go out and like learn how to make those oil and light show things again, because we want to open the Fillmore and have that available. And it was back then there was no digital projection. It was all 35 millimeter slides and overhead projectors. And so I learned how to manage that. And then I also worked with a club DJ who was my uncle, and we had screens and dancers and we were chroma keying them in to the show. And so I had a lot of, projection and live event production experience. And then that turned into me being an archivist and an event producer at Lucasfilm for the corporate events we did. Basically what happened with the Jedi thing was George shot what he shot on the set. And then when he was looking at it in editing, it was like, oh, I need a lot more Jedi in this arena. And so the call went out internally for people with martial arts skills. And so I answered it and said, well, I was on the fencing team in high school. Would that count? And they said, well, okay, you can audition. And basically what they did is they culled a list of people who had a reasonable story about martial arts. And then they did things where they auditioned their kata, which is a series of moves, right? And I passed the audition. I trained for 6 weeks every day to really be in shape so that when I got to the set, I could do it. And that turned out to be really important because it was one of these digital productions. I was in this blue screen that had blue gaffer's tape in like a small compass on the floor. And so there were 3 different lighting setups, and I had to do my kata 8 times for each lighting setup for them to be able to put me anywhere they needed to put me in the show. That was exhausting. And then, a bunch of my colleagues.
So wait a minute, you had to do, just real quick, you had to do the same routine?
Yeah.
Same way? Like, did it have to match up?
No, it wasn't that they were going to match it from one to another, but the way the light hit me, they had to have a recording of the way the light hit me from every angle.
Okay, I understand.
So that if they decided, well, let's put him over here in the arena, that it would match that location in the arena. Right.
Yeah, with lighting and it look completely out of place.
Or if my character was in the shot was facing away from the action, they had the shot from behind.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So it's called a turnaround, is what it's called. Yeah, and that was awesome. Dream come true. Like I remember being 13 and seeing Star Wars for the first time, and it's really funny because my really great friend Steve Moore, who's deceased now, we were literally tripping around Berkeley one night, and we were walking home from having been out skateboarding till 3 a.m, and we were walking down the street, and what do you want to do with your life, man? And he was like, oh, I want to like live in a tropical paradise and marry a brown woman and raise babies with her and maybe run a restaurant. And like, oh, I'd want to work for Lucasfilm someday. And we had no idea, but they both happened. Like he lived in Cabo San Lucas and ran a restaurant for like 10, 12 years. And I landed a job and worked for George Lucas for 21 years.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Beautiful story.
And that's, when that ended, when Disney bought the thing and they were like, okay, we want to move you to LA. And I was like, I worked for him. It was amazing. And this is going to be a big letdown. Okay, I'll take the severance. I'm out. I was like, all right, cool. And then around the same time, my wife wanted to divorce me. So I got divorced and I lost my job. And I was at this really pivotal moment in my life. Like, what am I going to do that's going to feel anything like what I've been doing for 20 years? How am I going to find excitement? I didn't know. I called a friend and I said, what am I going to do? Like, I just lost my job. I really basically kind of quit, but it was a bad offer. It was a good offer. They were generous, but it was not for me. Let's put it that way. Right. And my wife is done. What do I do? And he said, here's what I want you to do. There's this event. It's called the Ignited Man Workshop. Go sign up right now. Trust me, it'll be the thing for you. And it just so happened the first day was on my birthday. So when I went to sign up, it was like, it's on my birthday. All right, this is it. Like, I'm going to be reborn. And it was a men's workshop. And it was also part of an organization called One Taste, which had this practice that they were bringing to the world called orgasmic meditation. So the first 2 days were tuning us up as men, helping us get connected to our bodies, helping us learn to feel more, to have trust games, the whole trust fall thing, right? But then on day 3, we got to meet turned on women, and we got to ask them any question we want, anything about sex, anything. And orgasmic meditation is a 15-minute practice. And what happens is a woman sits down and she's naked from the waist down. She butterflies her legs, and a man sits next to her and strokes her clit for 15 minutes. And then they get up, done, walk away, no emotional baggage, no emotional connection. It's like a way for the woman to have access to that kind of stimulation and what it might do for her body and for her spirit, and for a man to confront what it's like to sit there and just do that without any attachment to what happens. I went on a deep dive to understand more about myself after that.
I'm talking about finger blasted bitches. I went on a deep dive. I'm sorry. Sorry.
That was good. I'm glad you got that in there, Maddie. That's a good thing. Anyway, so I wanted to learn more and more about myself. And so I continued to do men's work. And what I found out when I was in these spaces where men were trying to up level and trying to resolve the traumas that they had, that I had a strong aptitude for it. Like, I was already well attuned. And it turns out that when I was 9, my parents were group therapy leaders in the hippie days. And they would do these weekend workshops, and they would bring families and couples. And what would happen was they would have the kids go to a little daycare room, and I would teach the kids the same thing they were teaching in the workshop. And it was based on this book called I'm Okay, You're Okay. So I've literally been coaching since I was 9 with a big gap year.
Yeah.
And so once I've realized what it was like to actually get really good at stroking pussy and helping men find themselves in a powerful way. Like, one of the things that happened was like, okay, I don't have a wife anymore. I was never really great at dating, but suddenly I had this superpower with the women I dated because I'd cultivated all of this empathy and all this emotional intelligence, and I could stroke their clit really well. And so I started leaning into the possibility of coaching.
I started leaning in too, real hard.
Yeah. And so I found a year-long coaches training program called the Coaching Dojo. And I went to that for a year and I studied, and I found a second job because by this time my severance was running out. and I was going to have to do something. And it turned out that this place called the Internet Archive, archive.org, that has this thing called the Wayback Machine where you can look up any website, right?
Yeah.
So they needed an archivist, a physical storage manager. So I was doing that. And at night I was training for coaching certification. And then the second year I was working there, I started coaching at night and on the weekends just a little bit. And then I did another certification called the Men's Wisdom Work certification. And that's where I took the title Wisdom Coach from, was that work. I also did a really intensive program that is about decolonizing your mind and breaking away from racism and things in yourself as a white person. And that made it possible for me to really understand how to be of service to BIPOC cultures and understand that, you know, if I'm going to coach men of color, there's a whole other set of traumas that happen for them. And I can't actually do that unless I have at least a basic understanding. And it turned out that was really fascinating work. And I ended up I'm still part of that organization. And I haven't recently, but for a while I shepherded other people through that class as a second, not like the teacher, but as someone who supported the pods. Right. And then in 2018, I went all in, full-time coach. And it's been rough. I'm not making a bunch of money. I'm not at the Tony level or any of these big coaches, but I run my own business and it brings me a lot of satisfaction. Like when I see my clients go from, dweebs to powerful, turned on men who can make the things happen that they want to happen in their lives, it's really exciting and satisfying to me. And that's the closest I've come to being able to experience what it was like to work for George.
Wow. There's got to be a great amount of satisfaction, in helping people. I have never experienced, but
well, and I just got back from a weekend long retreat myself, where I got I was put through the ringer. And that's why I have this towel. It was called the All-In CEO Experience. You can't really see it now that the lighting's changed in my situation. I should probably turn the lights up a little, but they took away my cell phone. They took us up into the mountains and they put us through all kinds of trials, 12 different trials, one of which was called the Midnight Trail Run. And I'm 270 pounds.
Jesus.
And they put a 25-pound medicine ball at the front of the line. There were 12 of us, and they said, and headlamps on us, and they started running us. And, every 3 minutes, the one guy would have to give the next guy the ball. And I made it. We made it to the top of the frickin' mountain, man. And I thought I was going to die. But this towel is a symbol of from not throwing in the towel, right? Don't give up.
Yeah.
And I made it through all the exercises and I graduated. And so that's it. If you want to do what I do, you have to constantly be willing to push yourself to your edges and to learn to find where the depths of your own triggers still are. And so just calling back to, do I do a cold plunge? Yeah. Because in order for me to hold men accountable, but also teach them to have emotional intelligence and emotional communication skills, I have to be able to handle the emotional upheaval of when a man goes to pieces in front of me or gets really angry or whatever it is. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that. And, one of the ways I balance it is I have my own podcast called Moped Outlaws, where we do a lot about like what your guys are doing. We like poke fun at cancel culture, and we look at the hard parts of us with a lighthearted attitude. And when I saw you guys on Podmatch, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm like so stoked to be here because we're like of kin, Yeah,
I did check out Moped Outlaws. I forget who you had on. It was pretty, but it made me think. It harkened me back to another time because my parents had a vacation house in the Poconos, in Pocono Mountains, and it was this like enclosed community, and there were no like cops in this community, but there was like a security force. And the speed limit throughout the entire, this is back in the late 80s, the speed limit throughout the entire development was 25. So all of the security guards' automobiles, I shit you not, were governed at 25. These cops could not go over 25. I had this beat up like 1969 Bosch fucking moped. Not even the moped with a straight tank. It went down like a bike, right? Now, I weighed about 350 pounds as a 16-year-old kid. Riding this moped with like half a horsepower, right? I could go maybe 40 miles an hour. And we'd go in and we had a bunch of friends. We all had like, I had one friend that rode it, like he was like 6 feet tall, but he rode a 50. You ever seen those little 50s?
Yeah. Yeah.
He rode a 50 and I rode the moped. And then my buddy had a straight tank moped and we'd ride all over the fucking place, but we knew the deer paths, right? We knew all the deer paths. So we go fucking with the cops, do shit with the security. They'd go chasing us. We'd outrun them. We'd hit the fucking deer path, come out, go around, come out behind them, give them the finger, turn around and go back. And we had stickers. You had like every automobile, toy, boats, mopeds, ATVs, whatever, had to have a sticker for the association. But the sticker had no number. So there was nobody to link us back to.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Until one year they started putting numbers on them and registered who, that's because of me.
Yeah, of course it's because of you. I see what you've done to help society, Matty.
I find loopholes and I just exploit them. That's what I did.
You were an early hacker.
I was an early troll more than anything else. I was a very early troll because that was one of my favorite things. Because it was like an old Subaru, not the Outback, but remember the old Subaru wagon?
Mm-hmm.
They were all blue. Yeah, every fucking one of them you've ever seen was blue. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's what it was. And his fucking dude's name was Kakarika, and we used to call him Deputy Dog. And he smoked all the fucking time, and he's probably dead by now. So, but anyway, that's what your podcast reminded. So tell us a little bit more. We can find your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google.
It's on all of them. You can buy NFTs. We have NFTs for sale too.
Oh no shit! How do you do that?
Well, Greg Wilker, who is the other partner, he makes all of the art for each podcast release, and then we just turn them into NFTs. It's a pretty simple process, but nobody's bought any yet. But they don't cost us that much to make.
No, it's almost free.
Yeah, right? It's almost free. And we're hoping. We also have a little merch store. You can buy our t-shirts and stuff like that. But we mostly we do it because we love to talk and we love to crack each other up, and we love to talk about shit that needs to get talked about in ways that kind of poke fun at everybody's picadillos and everybody's sensitivities, because we take ourselves way too damn seriously for our health. And at the same time, both of us have been through the anti-racism training. So it really matters to us that we change how we relate to each other as people, and that we aren't misogynist anymore, and we aren't racist assholes, and that we stand for having a social sphere that feels good for everybody. Like, I'm down to support LGBTQA people. I'm down to support trans people, but I'm also a huge Dave Chappelle fan, right? Which is, and there's a lot of crossover there that would seem to negate itself, really. But that's where all the juice is in life. If you want to be funny, you got to play at those edges. And at some point,
laughs hurt. They have to, on some level. And honestly, just at the end of it all, I don't think that Dave Chappelle is a bad guy that has bad feelings. I think that
he doesn't.
He knows where the funny is. I mean, that's probably his biggest crime. And to be funny, sometimes it hurts.
Well, and he makes people think.
Yes,
in a really powerful way, and that hurts too.
That's what really hurts, is when people think. So I get it, and it sounds like your podcast is born of a lot of what ours is.
Yeah.
Matt and I are really just
Yeah,
trying
we're
to
muy simpatico.
we're trying to learn about ourselves and why we've grown into these awful people.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's pretty
Well, I
much.
tell you, if Grease Monkey Pete, I haven't heard much from you, but I assume you like women, right?
Love them.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Not currently.
If you learn orgasmic meditation, it'll change your life.
Orgasmic meditation.
Yeah. That 15-minute practice I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
On a podcast that we used to do where we met Pete. One day, Pete came in and was incredibly pissed off. Or no, yeah, he comes in. He's like, "Man, fucking bitches are crazy." What did you say?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not.
You don't remember
sure
this? And he
I'm not
was
sure which occurrence you're talking about. There were
so it was this one time, and you were so upset, and you started complaining about you were going to have sex with this woman, but she wouldn't stop talking, and you had to listen to her talk. You remember this, Mike?
Yes.
And I'm like, "Well, did you finally do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, but she talked for like an hour."
See, if he had been a client, I could have helped him learn to teach her to off-gas that stuff, so that her talking would be met a certain way, and her vigilance center, the thing that was having her continue to talk, which is basically anxiety, would lower, and then she'd reach a point where, let's stop talking. I want that D, man. Right?
How do you do that? How do you get her to shut up and want to fuck? Did I ask that wrong? Does that come out wrong?
Well, first
how do you get her to off gas and meet her in where she wants to be? Like what are some of the?
Well, first of all, you have to have mastery over your physicality, and you have to be able to put exquisite attention on her, and then ask interested questions instead of interesting questions. And an interesting question ends up pointing the attention back to you, right? And an interested question, at first, we think like, I'm asking an interested question, she's going to talk some more. Well, it's not what we want, right? But what you find is that when a woman actually feels your presence, and she can feel your attention, and she can feel the way you're communicating with her, has empathy and connection at it, that lowers her level of anxiety and her level of disruption in her nervous system. And then she can start to feel her body again and feel her turn on. And so that's how it works, right? And if that doesn't work, you can just stick your cock in her mouth. That'll shut her up.
There you go.
Every time.
So there you go, Pete.
Roofies.
Yeah. Well, that's a crime.
So's putting your cock in her mouth in several states.
But the easiest. But see, what he's telling you, Pete, is that if you just pretend to listen and give a shit.
No. You cannot pretend, because she will suss that out.
There is no try, only do.
Exactly. Right. And when you finally get it, when you actually find this spot in yourself, it's not a labor anymore. It's not a chore. It's intimacy. And it's what we all crave as men. Like the story is, women want emotional connection and men want sex, right? That's the story. But the research, if you dig in deeper, is actually women can get emotional connection anywhere they want. There's all kinds of guys in the friend zone. There's their girlfriends. What women can't find is a guy who knows how to operate her genitals properly. That's men, we get turned on easy. Good. I would expect nothing less from a grease monkey, right?
Oh,
you know,
my line was always, I'm good with my hands. I was previously a mechanic.
See, I knew that ohm would be your thing. Anyway, men, we think, want sex, right? And to a large degree, we're driven that way. But at the end of the day, it's the connection after the sex that really lands for us. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. We want to feel safe, right?
Want to go to sleep.
And we want to go to sleep and be and I wake up and she's still there, right?
All of those things are interrelated, though.
Yeah. And so when we start to break down these societal standards that we think are what they are, and we start to learn that what I really want is to feel connected, and women want to feel connected, I want to feel connected. How do we get there? And intimacy is the word that we use for it, but you say that to most people and they think about sex, right? But intimacy is this complex, beautiful arena of communication where they get to meet you and you meet them, and everyone feels seen and feels satisfied and heard and safe, right? Because our 7-year-old boy inside us he's going to trigger if something looks like he's unsafe. She's got the same issue, right? The difference is for us is if you trigger us and then start playing with our cock, we're going to be aroused. If you do that with a woman, no way. The equipment doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's complicated. I don't have a system. Like, one of the things that's true about my coaching is that I don't go like, here's the workshop book and you go through the first 8 pages and we do, like, I don't work that way. I meet men where they are. I learn about them. I learn about what has them showing up the way they're showing up now and what the origins of that are. And then I help them practice developing the parts of themselves that they want to bring forward. And the fire of desire drives the engine of success. And so you can attune that to the emotional arena with relationships, but you can attune that with productivity and with businesses too. You just have to know where the finer points of adjustment are there.
The desire of the fire drives
Fire
the
of desire.
Fire of desire drives the engine of success.
Yeah.
Okay. That's way better than let the bridges I burn light my path to success. That's what I've been working with so far. I'm going to go with yours.
Good. I'm glad I've made a small impact.
I like your theory, though, that meet people where they are, because, workbooks are great and but if I come to you and we talk for a while and you say, you know what, I know all these things, but you seem to know this part and this part and this, but these are the things that you need help with to, work on what you can work on, not what you already, if you've got 3 things that are already, hey, you're in tune there, you're good. You just, you need to develop this and this. I agree with that concept. It's a much smarter way to work.
I don't start with the principle that people are broken or they're wrong. I start with the principle that you're inherently a good man, and it's just about reconnecting you to the recognition of self at the root level. Because when that little boy remembers how to play full out, he can do anything. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned the 7-year-old boy. I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week who was dealing with a stressful situation with people who had been hurt years ago, and the question was, why do people act this way? I said, because we grow up, but our feelings don't.
Yeah.
So if you're holding on to feelings that you felt 15 years ago, they're still 15 years younger than you are now. And you're always going to feel them that way because you can't separate yourself from that, having felt it already. You're not going to feel it a new way. You're always going to feel it the way that you felt it the first time. So it needs to be addressed in that way and come forward. But I'm no expert, but I mean, that's
well, you're on it. You're on the right track there, Professor. And if you get in the arena with me, you're going to be challenged, but you're also going to be nurtured, right? And what I do is I teach men not to fear their emotions and then to use them in an effective way that helps them heal their bodies and helps them create the intimacy and the relationships they want. And the way that works is you actually have to learn how to feel. You have to be willing to experience the discomfort. And that's what ice bath training's about. Well, it's just like lifting weights or running, right? It's, you got
to feel the burn.
And Grease Monkey Mike, have you ever been wrenching on something, trying to get it open, and then when it lets go, you rack your knuckles on the next part?
Every one of them.
Right?
Every single
No,
one of them. I know that
right?
feeling.
No pain,
Yeah.
no gain, man. Yeah.
So I
And there's
interrupted
no
you.
shame. There's no shame. We're all dealing with these remnants, right? So right away I start to dismantle shame with people because shame's just a hiding place. And when you turn courageously to the adventure of your life, armed with new possibilities, you're going to just dive in, man. You're going for it. And I love seeing men do that. I love seeing men renew their commitment to their own life. And we need it. The world is fucked up. We need men to show up powerfully.
Yeah.
No, we need men to show
Absolutely.
up because I mean the world's not in a great situation right now, and it's very difficult because on a political stage, you see the threats that are to our nation, like the two meetings between China and Russia, two of the most completely out of touch from their feelings, dudes like that. They don't like there is only conquer. There is only that male, what has been classified as toxic masculinity, and then how do we go up against it? Like how do we, or what are we going to do? You know what I mean?
Well,
'Cause
I don't know Xi Jinping well enough to say that he's got toxic masculinity
let me
operating
tell
in
you
him.
something. I hung out with that motherfucker so many times. First of all, he can't hold his liquor. All right. The guy he pukes all over himself.
I
But no,
always knew you were a commie.
Yeah, no.
So, and I also want
Never
to
fucking call me that again.
I want to dismantle this idea of toxic masculinity. There's no such thing. It's not real. It doesn't exist. There's masculinity and then there's toxicity. And they're not linked. Toxic behavior is toxic behavior. And toxic masculinity is not real. It's some kind of meme speak. And it's not. So how do you, when we have to like break these things down, we have to dismantle these things. Now, if you want to go geopolitical, I have like a whole thing going. I've got this thing called Democracy 2.0 that I'm super excited and hot about.
Tell us about it. What's going on with that?
Well, the initiative behind it is to fulfill the promise contained in the U.S. Constitution on a global scale. The idea of self-determination, self-rule through a democratic representative process where everybody it has the liberty to worship who they want to worship or not worship, to live the way they want to live within the bounds of a kind of egalitarianism where we all accept that our neighbors want to live the way they want to live. And so we want safe schools, safe streets, and tolerance for each other's differences. So the idea here, which in the form it's in now, it still needs work. It's not ready to roll out. It's not a done deal. But the basic idea is there's 100 senators, right?
Yep.
And there's 420 some odd House representatives, right? So the basic premise is we use technology to increase the ratio of representation by a factor of 10. So that we're going to have 10,000 senators and 400 and some odd thousand representatives. And what that does, it makes it impossible to coerce, bribe, blackmail everybody on the issue all at once. And you can walk down the street and talk to both of those people in your own neighborhood, right? And so we leverage technology to preserve the idea of debate and the idea of bringing bills to the floor, and we work that problem out. And I've been talking to people, and a lot of what I get is, it'll never work. And I say, well, you know what? We're going to fucking die if we don't figure this out. And people need something to hope for. And I think this is the best possibility. And until someone else steps forward with something better, I'm all in on this. Because the idea, if I can do my banking with this device, there's a way that we can make this work. And then the promise floats out to the rest of the world, because now representative democracy has been debugged. And you can have it in Africa, you can have it, and we're all doing shit in real time. We're all making these decisions in real time anyway. Like, isn't social media like the ultimate place we debate social issues? And all that stuff. So there's no reason that we can't, tweak it until we get to a system that works. Now, there's certain things that are going to have to stay the same. Like we need a president.
Well,
right?
no, we should get 10 presidents.
Oh man, that's one cluster F.
I'm just saying you've 10-folded everything else. We need 10 fucking presidents.
No, we don't.
And we need to, and they have 10-year terms
because
on all
the way it works.
Terms. Oh
no, we can't have 10 presidents.
I was trying.
I don't think.
Okay.
And I love it. I mean, I need people like you, Maddie, to come in with their great ideas, because that's what's going to save us. We all have to go all in. And the point I wanted to make is that people need something that they can hope for, because right now the story is we're all going to die. The whole thing's going to fall apart. This doesn't work. How are we going to resolve all this shit? Well, you know what? There's this beautiful thing that, to me, the Constitution, look what it did, right? And yeah, it was fucked up. Those guys were slave owners. There's all kinds of problems with that stuff. That it was like, well, we're the smart landowners.
Document written by imperfect men.
Right.
But here's the thing: every man on the face of the fucking earth is imperfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you could dig into my past and find whatever you wanted, I'm sure anything you wanted to slander my name, you would find it. And I'm sure if you were to look at, Neil deGrasse Tyson, go back and I'm sure he fucked someone's secretary. I'm sure it fucking happened. Just think of anybody. Joe Biden. There you go. He might have put a sentence together today. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's nobody is perfect. So we have this document that lays out these rights, and it's said because these persons were practicing cognitive dissonance, which is they were saying one thing and behaving a different way. Now, that's something that's very, very fucking common. Most people are going to operate in that way at some point in their life. That's why there's a fucking word for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that the Constitution is a perfect document.
So I got to thinking, well, how do we up level this piece of paper? We're to the computer age. And I'm like, oh, well, these guys could never have considered that, we could have a giant Zoom clusterfuck and have that be Congress, right? So it's a very imperfectly and under-designed idea right now. But I talk about it everywhere I can, because I know people who are smarter than me are going to figure this out. And the key thing, and I keep coming back to this, is we need something to hope for, and we need to start putting our energies behind it so that we can stop this whole thing around the fall of the American emperor, the idea of it's Armageddon time, or because that's all that thinking is what's driving the result. What you think about, you bring about. What you feel becomes real. So if you want to shift, you need to have something to look forward to, some kind of idea. And that, I came up as a child of the 60s, and what did they do? They created this crazy idea of how life could be. And it was very effective for a while. We got some great stuff out of that, particularly getting to see Lynyrd Skynyrd live at the Oakland Coliseum when it was everybody in the band. Like, I will never forget that as long as I live. But beyond that, having something, Democracy 2.0, that we could work together on, people who are smarter than me could debug it, right? And help create it. Like, where are my, fellow, fathers now, to help me work this? So if you're out there, go to my website. My phone number's on my website. Call me. I'll help. We'll get this shit done. Because why? Because if we don't, we're all gonna die.
Dun, dun, dun. No, but it's the state of things right now are, I feel like, unmanageable.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of stuff coming out about what the government's done and all this other, and we have to try to separate, the people in the government from the way it was designed to work. And the people in the government are the fallible part of the equation. And we have to learn, one, they have to be held accountable. If you say something incredibly stupid, you should be, have your feet held to the fire. And when we talk about having 10 times more people in people in Congress, I think about Congress now and I'm just like, it's a clusterfuck. And you just imagine adding more fucking, and I understand that it makes the pool bigger and harder to poison.
That's the big deal, because it's relatively easy and fairly inexpensive in comparison to buy 436 people.
Or blackmail. Right?
Or blackmail, or whatever it takes to sway them one way or the other, than it is to do the same thing to 436,000 people.
Yeah. And we got to do things like get rid of Citizens United, which makes it, unlimited campaign money. There's a bunch of stuff that has to get fixed in the process. And we got to stop relating to the way we solve social problems in our country by thinking of it as a football game between this team and that team. We're all on the same team. It's called America. And if you want to have guns, I'm cool with it. But I really want you not to let some asshole get a hold of it and go shoot up a bunch of kids, right? My family's from Montana. You should be able to go out and kill an elk and fill your freezer and feed your family. I agree with that. We should have enough firepower available so that if some crazy fascists try to fuck with us, that we can stop that too. But you know what? It's not working right. And we can't be blaming each other's team and pointing fingers at each other and hating on each other, or we're all going to go down. And I'm going to out myself. Like, I've been a liberal Democrat. I'm older now, so I get more fiscally conservative. I fought hard against the former president. I don't like him on a ton of levels, but he did some good things in office, and I'm not afraid to say that.
And that's my issue with politics right now. In Washington, you've got the left and you've got the right. Nobody's living in the gray area. We're all living in the gray area, and nobody's fighting for us. They're all fighting for the far right or the far left. Everybody down here in the middle is living in this gray area where we've got to get by every day, and nothing's helping us.
Yeah. And we can all pick off a piece of the pie. Like, as a men's wisdom coach, I'm working hard at helping men. And one of the most interesting things that got presented at this weekend workshop I went to is there's a guy who is working with veterans to help them heal the trauma from war. And they're using psychedelics, and they're using MDMA, and they're using different ways to help these men come back from the brink of the horrible wounds of what we asked to do that for them as a culture. And so I look at what I'm doing as a lesser but relative and important part of that, which is opening the door for men to have what they want, to feel fulfilled, and to feel unchained in creating what it is they want, because innovation is what makes our economic system great. We've invented some incredible things, and we're going to continue to invent incredible things. And you could be the next guy that comes up with Democracy 2.0. I ain't special. Oh, well, yeah, I am a Jedi.
That's
but
true.
Fuck it.
You're the only Jedi on the panel right now, so
right.
We have to kind of you're the leader at this point, I guess.
Don't make me show you my lightsaber.
If you have a real lightsaber, I want to see it. But if you're just talking about your penis, please keep.
Oh, see, he's got it right there. Yes.
Oh shit! Now, is that like a movie prop, or is that?
No,
something?
this is a reproduction of Luke's original saber.
Oh shit!
Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, there it is. Beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, guys, I don't know how long we got. Like, I'll keep going if you want to keep going, but I also want to be respectful of your audience's time and of your time.
Absolutely. We usually cut B block and then go into a C block. We'd love to, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to. We have some videos. Do we have just the tips, Mike?
We do have Adjust the Tips.
We have a member who can't make it on Wednesday, so he makes us little video clips of his advice called Just the Tips. I would be
Great.
interested.
I'd love to hang out.
I would actually be interested to hear what you have to say.
Let's hit the C block then.
Yeah. All right. So coming up after this, we're going to get into the C block. We have Adjust the Tips. We're going to be doing Real Talk with the boys. We don't have a TikTok nonsense corner, or do we?
I didn't put together a full nonsense corner. No,
Right, but we are going to do Real Talk with the boys and some other shit we got going on. So, again, give us a call, 646-VIRUS-01. You can always check us out on themediavirus.com. And you can always go to the YouTube. If you're probably watching it now, I don't know why I mention it, but it's the YouTube channel, the Media Virus Network. Did I miss anything, Mike?
No, you're actually getting really good at this. And
I've been doing it 125 times.
Well, practice makes perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back right after this on the Media Virus Podcast.
I still have the YouTube up on my computer.
We clear?
Yeah.
We
Start it again. I am going to run to the little boys' room. I'll be right back.
All right.
So, Mark, you said the Moped Outlaws kind of rings a bell because I'm like, where have I seen this dude? Is that with the two guys on the mopeds, like riding across the country or something?
Well, we haven't done that yet, but
or am I thinking of a different one?
We haven't done that yet, but it's part of our plan is to get on the mopeds and go and interview people and just have it on the podcast. But we haven't done it yet. So if you've seen some people doing it, it's not us.
No. They weren't interviewing people. They were just they were determined to cross country on these little Jin Chang, Chinese, mopeds or whatever. And I was like, to check out Moped Outlaws.
Yeah, it's a fun discussion for sure. There's two of us, but you guys interviewed that guy who got arrested and went to China, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when he went to China.
Week.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, so he was on our show.
Oh no, shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Podmatch is an incestuous cesspool of guests.
Well, yeah, I ran out of matches for a while. I got to come up with better. I'm not good at describing anything, really.
Just start lying. Just start lying.
I'm terrible at descriptions. I'm terrible at coming up with titles and shit. So I think our tags are comedy, funny, and interesting conversation, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we don't, the pod match has been it's honestly. So there's another member of the podcast, and we call him Staff Writer Bill, and I work with him, and he often will come into my office and pitch ideas at me, and say. And I think our first episode ever was just a list of all the ideas that he had because they were so bad. But I just went through the list one by one, and then he said, dude, sign up for Podmatch. It's like Tinder for podcasts. And I was like, okay. So that was it. And I'm like, let's go fuck some ugly bitches. Let's see what we get. It's I'm trying to I would try to get people that or trying to reach out to people is tough. I don't know how to compose that email, but with here, it's you reached out to us, and we just reached out hey, we got matched and I wanted to invite you to come on. And a lot of people say yes.
Well, the trouble is people don't necessarily listen to your show. They just tell you they do.
No, I know that. well aware of that.
Yeah. I worry about my girlfriend listening to my show.
I used to worry about my wife listening, and then I realized that she doesn't. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get much better feedback from people I don't know than people I do know.
There's this really weird, like, unwritten law where she won't listen to anything. So, and then the one time I mentioned some little thing about her, like,
Right.
that's the show she'll listen
That's the
to.
one.
It's like, fuck. How
The
did
one,
you know?
yeah, you have some guest that she actually, yeah. I dealt with that because I had Aunt Mary Pat, who is a local celebrity, like a comedy personality.
I got to
And-
reach out to her again.
And my ex-wife was a big fan of hers. And then while we were talking to Aunt Mary Pat, I told this story. I told the story of how I accidentally quit meth. And and my wife was like, what was that? I'm like, oh no. Or my ex-wife was like, oh, don't worry about that. That was just, meanwhile, I was hiding all of that behavior behind her back.
Jesus. Oopsie.
So, yeah. Cause the story was,
Communication breakdown.
because well, you know, when you are when you're a cannabis user, you share with friends, and I was in a band with a guy, and because the Media Virus is the name of my first band, and you know, been in many bands, and I was in this one band, and we're talking about the different drugs that we enjoyed using, and the guy was telling me that he liked to smoke meth, and I was like, I've never done meth. He looked at me and said, yes, you have. You smoked my weed. You've smoked meth. I was like,
oh my
I'm
God.
gonna stop hanging out with you.
Yeah. What's that phrase? You're only as good as the 5 wealthiest people you hang out with.
That's well. That's all right. Are we ready to start, Mike? Or are we in?
Yeah.
Did we do a soft open already?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do it.
And we're back on the Media Virus podcast with Just the Tips, number 33. Just the Tips with Stanley McFadden.
Good evening, Media Virus podcast listeners. It is I, the one and only Big Daddy the Love, Dr. Dre Professor, Big Psychology from the U of V, bringing to you another episode of Just the Tips. This episode, and I have no idea what number we're on right now, but that's okay. This tip is coming to you from the road. I am driving at this moment, and I had a thought that I need to share with you. And it is going to both apply in the bedroom and out of the bedroom. But let's start with this. There are 3 kinds of people in this world. There are those who give more than they receive, those who receive more than they give, and there are those who are able to balance the two. When it comes to the bedroom, strive to be someone who gives more than they receives. When you are the type of person who in the bedroom gives more than they receives, then you are someone whose lovers wants more of them. Does that make sense? If you are able to kind of kick back and your significant other is willing to please and pleasure you for lengths of time on end, that's the kind of person that you want to have some more fun with at a later point in time. You know what I'm saying? So be the type of person that tries to give more than they receive. Be a generous lover. Be generous in other parts of your life as well. Be the type of person who in your life gives more than they receives. If you are the type of person who is constantly asking for favors from everyone else around you, and you're not giving of yourself to those people, to those who you claim are loved ones or friends or family or whoever, then fuck you. Then you're just taking. You're taking from your friends, you're taking from your family, you're taking from your loved ones. You are taking from those around you. And it makes the people around you not want to be around you. Does that make sense? Eventually, those who take more than they give run out of people from whom to take. That's it. And when you run out of people in your life who are willing to care about you and for you and give you the things that you don't receive, you will be shit out of luck. Be the type of person who gives more than they receives, inside of the bedroom and out. If you are the type of person who is constantly looking to give back to your friends, give back to your family, give back to this world. This world is made a better place by you being in it. Just by you trying to be a good person, spread positive vibes, spread positive energy. It is made better by you trying to give more positive to it than you are asking from it in return. That is how we improve ourselves as people. That is how we improve ourselves as neighbors, as neighborhoods, as country, as kinfolk, as men, as people. By looking to give to this world more than we ask from it, more than we try to receive from it. Be generous with your time and your talents to other people, more so than you demand from them in return. Inside of the bedroom and out. And that, I promise you, that karmic consequence, that energy, that love, those positive vibes, that positive energy will come back to you tenfold when you seek first to make the world a better place by giving to it more than you are asking from it. And if you are not that type of person, do better. Be better. Give more than you receive inside the bedroom and out. Big Daddy Dex Dre, Media Virus Podcast. Until then, I'm out. Happy fucking.
2 points I wanted to make about Big Daddy's Just the Tips. This has got to be the first Just the Tips where he did not recommend fellatio to ladies. And
It's true.
oh, and joining us is our is Big Daddy, the professor of big dickology of the U of V. How you doing, Big Daddy?
Just in time to make sure the ladies remember. Don't forget to fillet your man tonight.
No, you didn't even have to do that. It was implied, man. Road and your head.
You didn't mention it
That's all we needed.
specifically.
It was Roadhead.
The other thing I wanted to say is, like, I would love to live in a world where I didn't give a fuck about audio quality and I could just make videos while I was driving. If I made videos, because I think about that all the time. I'm like, I want to call like the hotline or make a video or something. And I'm like, no, it's just stupid. It's going to be shit. I'm driving. So thank you. Thank you, Big Daddy, for taking the time out of your day, even though you were, where were you going? Were you going to get some pussy?
No, I was doing some training for a job.
Oh, well, that's less.
And
exciting.
I had the thought, and I had see what happens so often is when I have that thought of something that needs to be adjust the tips, I got to do something with it or I'll forget about it.
Yeah. No, I got you. It's pure gold. And you can check out the podcast stream of Just the Tips. We have all 35 of them now. Mike, how many are there?
That was 33.
33. So we have, you new one every week.
I do have to do some work on that and get a few more up. I think there might be a little issue there that I've got to deal with, but
terrific. Big Daddy, say hi to Mark. Marc Wendt was our guest this evening.
How's it going, Mark?
Nice to meet you, Big Daddy.
That went down my back a little too hard. All right.
That's what he said.
That's right. So what we got next there, Mike? Real talk with the boys?
Yeah, do some real talk. See if I can remember where we left off last week. Real talk with the boys. When we come upon some reels on Facebook, I save them and then we can go through the list later on. Well, this is just good information to have. I saved this one this week.
I was today years old when I learned that you can make soft pretzel bites at home using canned biscuits. So you'll cut each biscuit into fourths and shape it into a pretzel bite, or you can roll out the biscuit into a log and cut them into
You can go
fourths.
buy fucking pretzels.
You're then going to add a 4th cup of baking soda to boiling water, but do this kind of slowly because it does bubble over. You're then going to add the pretzel bites to the boiling water, keep them in there for about 30 seconds, remove them and put them back on the baking sheet. And then you're going to melt some butter and spread that over each pretzel bite. Don't be shy on the butter with this part. It adds some good flavor to it. And then top it with some coarse salt. And then you're going to put it in the oven to bake at 425 for 12 to 15 minutes until it's a brownish color. And look at that. You have pretzel bites. I literally had no idea. I can't believe how cool this is.
So I thought that was good information to have.
That is good information to have. Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
I don't have to go to the pretzel factory. You know what? My mother, fun fact about pretzels. My mother used to teach what was known near me as CCD. Anybody familiar?
Yes.
Yep.
Basically Sunday school.
Basically Sunday school, but it was on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday after school. And my mother taught first grade. And she would always bring in these pretzel rods and to give out to the kids. And when they asked, they would always ask her. And apparently there was a Bavarian monk who would make these treats for the kid, and he would make them. And the pretzel, the pretzel shape is supposed to be a hug.
Yes.
That's fun fact.
Nice. Dropping the knowledge.
That's right. Just basically what this part of the show is we show videos and then my ADD takes over and I tell a story.
Speaking of hugs, ladies, this is a good time to remind you to hug your man vaginally.
Or orally.
I don't remember what this one was.
Put that hug on him.
Knows that I spent spring break this year at my aunt's condo in Florida in a 55 and up community, in a fucking nursing home, and it was fantastic. I don't vibe with the traditional spring break, okay? I don't want to wake up on a beach in a thong bikini, chug a Four Loko, listen to trap music with a bunch of men screaming, jumping around. No, I want to wake up, sip a glass of rosé, and then listen to Jimmy Buffett with fucking Dorothy and Blanche on a lanai. Granted, I'm still in a thong bikini because gotta give those oldies something to talk about. And don't think I didn't have any excitement because those bitches got rowdy as fuck during bingo. I sat next to one lady who had the biggest diamond ring I had ever seen. And I was like, that's a beautiful ring. And she went, you know how I got this? 50 years of putting out. And I was like, respect, Connie. 10 out of 10 recommend spring break with the oldies. Trust me. I did hear a few slurs, but we can't win them all. It is, everybody knows.
That's why I saved it.
Yeah,
That's
you
terrific.
gonna hear some slurs in the 55 and up community.
That's, it's why I really love going to visit my dad, because you can just use slurs in just basic conversation. Nobody says anything. Yeah, you're just having a conversation and then just terrible words come out of your mouth. Nobody cares.
Your parents are from a different time, Matt.
My dad's 91. My dad's going to turn 92.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's right. It is coming around soon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. He's still with us. Still trying to piss everybody off.
So this one was good. It as if, a monkey with a knife isn't scary enough. Somebody taught this guy how to sharpen his knife. And he's good at it.
This is why I stopped going to the zoo.
They kept trying to lock you in a cage. Is that what it was? They kept trying to lock you in a cage?
No.
No?
I'm scared of the monkeys in there, man. They're making shivs and shit.
Remember that old kids in the hall bit? You want to go to the zoo and watch the monkeys do it? The monkeys know what to do it. The monkeys making love. The monkeys make a movie.
At the Philadelphia Zoo, there used to be a gorilla who would sit there and just pound on it all day.
And what would you do?
Everybody,
Locked in a cage. What are you going to do?
You point. Check it out.
Come on, let's go watch the gorilla jerk off. All right.
That's pretty much it.
So,
Let's see where I was going with this.
My wife and I, we made it out to dinner alone for the first time a couple months ago. And we were both on edge, we were both nervous. And halfway through appetizer, she looked at me and she just went, "What's wrong?" And I just looked at her and I asked,
"You're gonna be a great dad."
"Thank you." I'm scared. I'm scared about things I never thought I'd be scared of. Like, I want to make sure that he looks up to me. My wife asked, "What's wrong?" And I looked at her and I went, "Do you think it's weird that I'm worried our son is going to have a bigger dick than me?" And without blinking an eye, my wife just looked at me and she went, "No." And then she said, "But the whole point of being a parent is to give your kids the things that you never had."
Oh, man.
Thank you guys very much.
That was awesome.
yeah, I got two kids, and both of their grandfathers must be really well endowed. I don't, and I say it like this because I know I have enough skin. I said this before. I have enough skin to have a really huge cock, but I don't, and it's all balls. It just hangs. What's next, Mike?
Trying to remember why I saved some of these when I did. So try this guy.
Shootings every other week. There's another one. So one day I was smoking, and I was like, I feel like this is so solvable. What are we missing? What are we not paying attention to? And then it hit me. I was like, nobody's looking into the candle industry and the role that they might be playing in our inability to get gun control done. Because think about it. They have a vested interest. Because after every mass shooting, what do we have? Candlelight vigil. Don't you bail out on me. That's a good fucking joke.
That is a good fucking
joke. You guys are here
joke.
for comedy. Loosen the fuck up. That is an awesome joke. You know, every time. Those are new purchases, people. Those people didn't have candles sitting in their house like, let me go home and get my candle. They bought that shit that day. And Big Candle is just sitting back like, Big Candle. Mass shootings.
That's not wrong.
He's not. No, he's got a perfectly good point.
This one John Cleese posted.
Gotta love John Cleese. It's actually John Cleese. there are 4 musicians. Every one of them is playing with a broken arm. There's 2 violinists. In between them is a man holding the bows. They are gyrating against the bows. Make the music.
Singing the Monty Python hit, Always Look on the Bright Side of
That's
Life.
what that was. I knew I'd recognize the tune.
Fantastic song.
I didn't want to talk over it, but I figured it's in an audio format. This is going to be very hard to listen to.
That's what you play for someone if they are having a bad trip on acid. Is always
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Don't grumble. Give a whistle.
I must have saved this one for Pete.
Yeah.
Stream, truck, and track. We're the car dog.
Sir, what exactly are you hoping to gain by adding this cam? Sir, what?
Guess that was funny to Pete.
Yep.
You got to understand cars to get that one, I think.
Good stuff.
That was all Pete. Some of these I went through last week. I'm trying to.
No, I know we talked about bigger boys having shorter childhoods.
Yep.
Mm.
I'm trying to jump through those.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing this one last week.
This is cultural appropriation. First of all, this person in a fat suit is taking a job that a fat person could be doing. The only thing funnier than watching this guy do that would be watching a fat woman do that.
True.
Right? It's just like, if you have a homosexual character on TV, they should be played by a homosexual. When you have a black character on TV, they got to be played by this person. That's cultural appropriation and fat phobia. Fat people are not here for your entertainment.
I personally am ready to see a woman that size rideable.
That would.
Have PETA all over you.
Sounds good. As long as
Imagine-
PETA's nice and lubed up.
Bull just tapping the fuck out.
What's this? I feel this too, little dude. Protest punk rock. What is that?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Like I said, I don't remember.
Like punching the government in the face. Not okay. Screw the government. Like punching the government in the face.
I must have sent you that.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't
I
remember.
saw that before. I love that
Just
kid.
save them.
I love that.
Well, I'm just going to point out the obvious, Mike. You see that, like, bar to the left, you got collections, and there's a button that say add to collection.
Create new collection.
Yeah, create a collection and put TMVP on it.
I probably should at some point.
Or real talk. Yeah, just saying.
I love how Pete is telling Mike how to do his job. That's the fucking
I'm DJ explaining or something over here.
person with the absolute least responsibility is lecturing the person who does the absolute most.
That's the way projects work. There's a Yiddish term for that.
Oh, what is it?
Kibitzing.
Ah,
That's so fucking funny. Oh my god!
I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna put that on my resume. Good
All right.
at kibitzing.
I used to work.
Expert level kibitzing.
I used to work for a waterproofing company. I used to answer the phone and take leads for a waterproofing company. And the two owners, one was just basically a worker, not basically like he was the brains of the operation, but he didn't go out and sell that much. He was the owner and he did most, like he hired the people and all that stuff. But the salesman, his name was Andy Kevich, and they were all Jewish, but his name was Andy Kevich, and we used to call him Andy Kivitz, and he used to get so fucking pissed off. Because they told me that Kavich was like the piss and moan, like to just complain all the time.
yeah.
Right? I guess it is. That's yeah. But that just reminded me of Andy Kevich. If he's listening, how you doing, Andy? He's not listening.
Andy, stop complaining.
Stop complaining.
Oh, this one I remember why I said if you watch, there's a squirrel in this that is like hiding up near the ceiling. And apparently he was waiting for the woman to open the door. He's up in the corner there.
Man with pizza delivery.
Oh, I see him now. I see him.
He's right in the corner.
He's like, I'm gonna get in that fucking house. He's still got the pizza in his hand.
That squirrel's about to Mission Impossible that pizza.
Listen, you can hear the woman in the house screaming.
Somebody needs to lay the Mission Impossible music over this.
I
Yeah.
don't hear it. He's just trying to figure out what to do. He's like, what do I do? You want your pizza or not? Oh, the guy comes out and gets it.
Girl's just up there.
He's finally laughing because he
Yeah,
That's
what did she do to that squirrel? I mean, that was like timed. There was
That was a planned revenge.
yeah, like he was waiting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I've started doing? I started. Well, I'm trying to make friends with the crows in my neighborhood,
Okay,
so I can get them to attack people I don't like.
right. So you leave them stuff. Are they
I'm
bringing
leaving
you
them
things
like
back
hot
yet?
dog bread, like hot dog rolls.
Are they bringing you gifts back yet?
Not yet, because I think what I did, it started out because I needed forgiveness because we were pulling in to the park. We were pulling into and I live right on the corner, and we were pulling in. And as we were pulling in, these crows were like in the manhole cover drinking.
Right.
She almost ran them over.
Oh.
And they were like fucking staring, like they were like fucking staring at us, and not dead on. They were staring at us like side like this, like he was staring at. And so I'm like, all right, let me go fix this because you don't want to piss off crows,
right?
They fucking remember.
Yes.
Right? So I went out and I showed them the bread and I put it right where right where we interrupted them.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're floating around the backyard. I'll have an army of crows soon. I'm quite happy about it.
That reminds me this morning when I went out to my truck, a young falcon, like it's probably just, flying falcon, swept into my yard and killed a bird to eat it. I'd never seen that before. I knew they took rodents, but I stopped in my tracks and it landed in the center of our cul-de-sac and the bird was still alive under the claw and it was like beep, 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 beep. And it was just waiting there, like giving it the stink eye while it choked it to death. And like the crows were trying to fly in and steal the food from them.
Yeah.
It was trippy.
Yeah.
I always thought falcons are fucking cool. Well, don't they'll attack midair. They'll eat birds. Like they'll grab out of the fucking air.
They'll pop them right out of the sky if they can.
Yeah.
Now with crows, my understanding is once you befriend them,
they start bringing you shit.
They will bring you gifts.
Yeah.
Now the key is when they bring you something good, you have to up the ante with what you give back.
Okay.
Because there's a guy, I think he was in England. He noticed that one day, these crows that he had been feeding, one of them brought him a note, a bill. It was like a $20 note or a 20-pound note.
Wow.
So he made sure that he gave them something better. And now when the crows that are his friends find money, they bring it to him.
Right, because they know they're going to buy him shit. They buy them shit.
Right. So like they learn. So like they get this idea that, okay, if I bring him the things that look like this, he's going to do better for me.
I got to put this into action.
Yeah. So I mean,
I still haven't trained my dog, but I'm sure I can train a crow.
So you could go from hot dogs to cashews, Maddie.
Cashews?
Yeah.
Like cashews? All right. Well, give him cashews.
I can't wait for the news report that there's a murder of crows in Claymont that are robbing people at the Wawa.
I read a story, or I heard a story, or I don't know, whatever I did. It's in my head, of a guy who like was really nice to one set of crows and then was like a dick to another set of crows.
And he turned them on each other?
He turned them on each other. Like they would fight each other over him.
Huh.
And I thought that was that guy has a lot of time.
It was
on
like
his
a
hands.
crow fight club.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's probably better than my tabletop Chihuahua dogfighting ring, crow fighting.
As someone who's new to the tabletop Chihuahua fighting ring, I'm not so sure. That might be $1 million YouTube channel.
I gotta tell you, you're the first person to bite on that idea. Nobody ever goes for it.
You know, I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised that the crows are willing to fight each other because the first rule of crows is crows before bros.
Boom. Now I know why they call you Big Daddy.
That's right. Delivery. Crows before bros. But yeah, I mean, it's, you could have them wander, going through people's medicine cabinets and stuff. It'd be great.
Yeah, you just have to help them assign value to the items that they bring you.
So when they bring me something, like if they bring me like gold or a Pontiac, I got to give them. Take a lot of crows to bring a Pontiac.
Yeah, but yeah, a piece at a time.
Like the Johnny Cash song.
One piece at a time.
I can just see it now. A crow pulls up in front of your house in a Trans Am. Oh man.
You're gonna give him your wife.
I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if she'd agree to go live with sorry, honey, you belong to the crows now.
Look at my car.
Hey, those are the rules. They brought me a car. What am I gonna do? Sorry, babe.
Oh.
Crows before bros.
Crows before bros. Crows before hoes, babe.
Oh,
all right. Well, it is getting late, and I think that we're kind of winding down here.
Yeah.
Running out of shit to talk about. I want to thank our guest, Marc Wendt, Wisdom Coach. You can check out his website at marcwendtcoaching.com. You can check out our website, themediavirus.com. You can even send me a fucking email, dude. Maddie at themediavirus.com. You can go to PML at themediavirus.com, Big Daddy at themediavirus.com, just Pete at themediavirus.com. You can give us a call, even while we're not on the air. 646-VIRUS-01. That's 1-646-VIRUS-01. Did I miss anything, Mike?
No, other than the fact that I'm going to let everybody know that on behalf of Big Daddy, Grease Monkey Pete, our guest, Marc Wendt, and our fearless leader, Maddie Rockdeff, I'm Professor Mike Latoris, coming from to you live here at the high atop Uncle Butch Studios. This has been the Media Virus Podcast. We'll see you next week. And we're clear.
All right. Fantastic. Great show. Marc, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for hanging out in the C block, even though it was completely not that interesting.
Thanks for showing us your lightsaber.
That's all Pete got out of it.
You're welcome.
I got a lot more.
That's not all Pete got out of it. There's a new bumper in there. I didn't cut the tape yet. Thanks for showing us your life.
Very, very cool.
You guys were so much fun. You totally exceeded my expectations. And I even got to meet Big Daddy. I'm so grateful. I had a blast. Reach out anytime if you need coaching or if you know someone who knows how to make this Democracy 2.0 thing really take off. Let's get it done.
Right on, man. Would you be open to coming back on sometime?
Oh, hell yeah. I made this background.
Hell yeah. You might as well get the use out of it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a little pissed that yours is nicer than mine. I spent a lot of time.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Are those now? Because, oh man, because yours looks really fucking cool. And did you lay each TV in, or did you just go? I
went and found an image from my stock image place, and then I just copped a bunch of other stock images that I had laying around, and just pushed them in there. Maybe for another one, I could make them move. Like there's video, you can do video as a background in Zoom, right? The on the air thing, right? And so that was sort of the next level, was to put video clips back there. But you know what? That might give people they might have seizures or something if I did that. So I think I'll just stick with this. I might move them around just to fuck with you a little bit.
You know what I did? This is I went, and I don't know if you can really tell on each and every one of them. I went and found two images. I went and found an image of TV static, and I went and found an image of those bars, the color bars. And then I laid those, and then I also went and got all the screens that I took out, because I took out the screens and laid them back there. I put the screen back in, put either the static or the color in, and then turn the opacity down until they weren't and I would also, some of my images, I would distort the image. So because the old tube style TVs would distort the image. So I went and distorted, it did.
See, yeah, you got way more into authenticity.
That's a lot of work on background. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look what I did for Mike. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I can reach back. It looks like I'm touching a board.
Yeah. That's not a Neve, but it's a pretty damn good board.
Oh,
and Grease Monkey Pete, whoa. Like you're flying some sort of spaceship back there or something. I don't know. Not quite. Maybe you're flying Prince's.
Maddie helped with that. I found the image. I don't know where I went looking for a background when I came on here. And this was the closest thing I could find. I was like, oh, this looks cool. It's from some kid's show or something. And Maddie took it and took it to the next level and put the Media Virus stuff for me. And
I'm really into branding.
Super thankful for him for doing that.
I had a blast. You guys are fun. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. We really do.
Thanks for being here, man.
It was nice meeting you. It was nice talking to you. It was. I think you taught me a lot for free, which I'm really excited.
Yeah.
No, but it was terrific. We'd love to have you on, even if you just want to come on and fucking hang out. We don't have to make it all about you or whatever. You can, whatever you want to do. We'll figure that out.
I loved hanging out. That'd be great. I respond well to invitations. I don't really like to insert myself and stuff.
Gotcha.
So if you guys send me an invite, I'll definitely show up. If you want to create a segment called Ask the Coach, I'd be happy to do that too.
I love it. I absolutely want that. I would invite you to do that, since you respond better to invitations than inserting. It was your idea, but I just literally what I want to do with C Block. I don't want to use other people's videos. The C Block. I want to have
all of our content.
It's our content. It's our specialized kind of you're not, like Big Daddy's Just the Tips, or, we're trying to get Pete to do some kind of car. He's working on things behind the scenes to work on not just car segments, but what the things he would do if I forget her name.
Scarlett
Scarlett Johansson slept with him, like the type of breakfast cereal he would have if Scarlett Johansson spent the night and woke up and wanted breakfast cereal.
Wheaties. Breakfast of motherfucking champions. That's a Wheaties.
So, and I would absolutely, I think that's awesome. I would, love to have you on a lot more, man. I think you fit in really well. And, if you ever want an asshole to come talk to you on Moped Outlaws, I'll come talk to you.
Yeah. It'd be fun to have
Yeah,
the
I don't
whole
set
crew.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We have the fun to have the whole crew on.
We should do like a crossover episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
Fuck
so,
yeah.
I'll talk to Greg, my co-host, on Friday when we do our show Friday, and just tell him how much fun it was. And then, we'll talk to Art, our producer, who doesn't exist but has a name.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and we'll see how it all goes out. Let's just be grateful we got another day.
Yeah, man.
And that we had so much fun. And we'll see what happens next. And when your woman talks, look her in the eye. That's my tip for the day.
Thanks, man. Very, very cool. All right, dude. Well, I got to go to bed.
I'm out. Love you.
I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you very much. Love you too. That was great.
Yes.
Dude, he was great.
He was awesome.
Motherfucker showed up with a background.
Well, he's the first one that I can honestly say I believe him when he said he
watched the show.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're still live.
Well, there's that.
I'm glad I didn't talk a bunch of shit about him. That'd be great. That would have been fucking terrible.
Well, my balls itch. Should I say that on live?
I mean, you just did.
Speaking of my balls,
there's no should do. It's already happened. Been there, done that.
All right, let me go clock in. All right, I'll talk to you guys.
All right, man.